This meeting was called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act law. Notices of this meeting were sent to the Union Leader and the Star Ledger. In addition, copies of notices were posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and filed in the office of the Borough Clerk on the aforementioned date. Notices on the bulletin board have remained continuously posted. Proper notice having been given the Borough Clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting. Minutes of this meeting should also reflect the purpose for which the meeting was called. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Yakovo?
Here.
Councilman Hoganson?
Here.
Councilwoman Torres?
Here.
Councilman Casales?
Here.
And Mayor Carty.
Here.
Five members present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Why don't we start by setting up the calendar for the meetings going forward, and maybe we can pass that on to the council members that are not present later on. if we do that.
I tried to come up with a calendar, mixing days, and then off weeks, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So what I came up with is Wednesday, February the 1st, Tuesday, February the 7th, Thursday, February the 9th, Wednesday, February the 15th, Tuesday, February the 21st, Thursday, February the 23rd, Monday, February 27th, Tuesday, February 28th, looking to introduce on March the 1st. So,
That's a lot of meetings in February.
well, I mean,
think that that's setting it up in case we need to use it.
at the end, you might be able to cancel some, or in between, depending on what's going on.
What dates? Just
February 1st,
first,
7th,
7th,
9th,
9th,
15th, 21st, 23rd, 27th, 28th, and introduce on March the 1st.
is that the deadline, March 1st?
That's the deadline. It's the 29th of the meeting there, first meeting thereafter, which is March the 1st for us.
I found my fees probably with the 27th on a Monday night.
I might not be here.
Yeah, Mondays,
Mondays are off.
that's tight for me. 7 o'clock would be fine for that,
I have a Girl Scout meeting that night.
I mean, we might even not, depending on where things go, you know,
Yeah,
it's just,
understood.
that's just, you know, the crunch week. If we want to introduce the 1st, I just figured the 2 nights in case, you know, book it now, you can always cancel if you had to cancel.
Are there any other?
The object is that we might not be able to get all 7 members present, but
Yeah, I got you.
to try and stick to a schedule up front, which was requested.
Talking 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock if that works, if we need to make it 6:30. If 6 o'clock works, we'll leave it at 6, is that okay?
Can't make it 27.
Let me look at
All right, well, the 27th, you might as well cross out.
mine.
Worst case, if we need, then the 29th, we just need a little time to get the document ready, so. We should hopefully be pretty hashed out by then, so. So change that to Wednesday to the 29th, since it is leap year. Okay?
So everybody has those dates listed now?
Yeah.
You can just send that in email.
Or when Donna posted, she can just do her normal email, just post it at one time.
Everybody gets a copy, yeah.
No, it's 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Oh, I know. Okay, just pass that.
Am I late or?
No, we started soon.
You're late. Yes.
Okay, so that takes care of that big order of business. Next topic, just governing body budget issues. Is there any, not talking about capital projects right now, just strictly the budget in general, the governing body's views, issues, anything major on the table that you want to bring up right from the start? Obviously, when we get into things, things will change, but any special items that you're thinking of?
I know we talked about it last year, and the bridge Is Vince gonna be able to paint it, or is he gonna have to go out for?
I'll approach him, but I think that's gonna wind up being more of a capital issue unless it's
Okay,
just
that's-
paint
it's fine.
itself, but.
I get a lot of calls on that too, so if we can come to some kind of conclusion.
Because I know that he said he was originally gonna do it, then he got backlogged, the storms came, and then it fell through, and then.
I know
What are we
Mark's not
talking
here
about?
yet,
We're talking
but
about
I'd like to
the
refer
street?
that to the committee
Okay.
and have the committee discuss it with him and then
Okay.
come back with the full, you know, to
I
the
did
council
follow-
with the ideas.
I
Sorry.
did follow up with Vince last week about it, because no one seemed to know what happened with it last year, and he was under the impression that it was going to be done by a third party. So, I think there's some confusion. He never thought that his company
It
was.
was, last time we discussed, it was the responsibility of DPW that they said they were gonna do. That was, I remember discussing it in the committee meeting,
If we all get on the same page.
so I don't understand
Well, I know they didn't have the equipment. No.
I
but
think
it's
one of
one
the other
things
issues
with
was
certain
they had to
power
get-
washer and-
Yeah, they have to get coordinated with New Jersey Transit.
Right,
because
have to
the
get
train's
permission,
going
because
through.
that train goes through, so
So that's-
I think it's a right of way, they have to get permission.
and it's stuff that
And a
goes
county
down.
road, so it's gonna have to be police matter, so.
So it takes a lot of coordination to get it done, but it's something we should work on, especially the one on Locust Street, because that one still has the CASA information on it.
And also, which I don't know if I should I guess reach out to them as well, some kind of lighting underneath the bridges. I think Jake has brought it up several times. It is very dark. I know you take the train, those tunnels are a little scary at night, but I don't know if that would fall under capital or if
Well,
they ask for permission.
I know that was referred back to the lighting committee, I don't know if anything else was.
Did they ever
came up
talk
from that.
to Conway about trying to use that solar panel they have up there, maybe connect the wire from there? And use it,
Maybe PSE&G,
is that PSE&G's pole, or is it Conrail?
I don't think Conroe has any poles.
It's on the track.
Oh, it's on the track.
Yeah, I think they use it to generate the power for the young lights.
Oh,
There certainly is a lot of potential to use solar
Yeah.
panels there, and I had even talked about the things in the street, and I haven't heard back, but I had asked Vince to look into that, and I asked you to follow up on
I
it.
did, I called the county, I spoke to the county, and they reported it at the council meeting afterwards. And they said that they don't have any grant funds available for that type of project. They're recommending, the dividers that are not in the ground, the blinking lights, for us to look into that. There may be potential for monies there for public safety. So,
you're talking about the bridge lighting by Chestnut there.
Chestnut and Locust, but Chestnut, it is dark over there because there's no business over there. So it's, and especially with people needing to yield to pedestrians, you really can't see the pedestrians, it's pretty dark.
Okay.
It's probably,
I mean,
in the
Schnecker
winter
Road.
time around 5 o'clock, it's probably the most dangerous street to cross. in
It is.
town.
So do we wanna go public safety, lighting, and municipal services, or?
Well, let's not overcomplicate it. Let's
No,
do-
I'm just saying.
Yeah, municipal services in coordination with the lighting committee.
Who's that, Joseph?
Yeah. Pat, right.
That one was recently promoted within CSU.
Oh, yeah? That's a plan. They really helped us out during the power outages. The two of them did a lot of work behind the scenes, so if there's anything that can be done, I'm sure they will do it. The other thing that I bring up every year is the bulk pickup. Everybody talks about it. We've cut down to one bulk pickup, and I'm wondering if this year, with what looks like a somewhat favorable budget, we might want to consider boosting back up to two bulk pickups per year.
Vince had said something to me about possibly doing something with the regular garbage contract.
right, that's gonna bring it
With,
up.
and then he was supposed to, the committee's supposed to meet and discuss that with the entire garbage
The town
bid
of
specs to.
Branchburg does a garbage pickup along with bulk, maybe it's a town we could look into.
You know, it was like just like small pieces of furniture, something that can go in normal garbage, and maybe you can correct me on this issue, if that's part of the solid waste facilities. He said he spoke to the gentleman at the Union County Utilities Authority, so.
And we can do that as part of every trash pickup?
No, you can't.
I think that was a month thing, and
Yeah.
some towns they have
You
their
put
one day a
out one
month.
item, you put out one.
But you gotta remember, that's also gonna affect
Depends on the
your garbage
landfill you're going
contract
to.
too, and, you know.
Different municipalities have different landfills and they have different things they can take. And our county does not let bulk go to Union County Incinerator. But I have some issues for closed session regarding our
My only thing would
garbage
be,
disposal.
my only thing would be, we usually, or at least from what I've seen, is we decided bulk in the middle of the budgeting process. Since bulk is such a hot issue, and it usually determine on how much money we actually have in order not to raise taxes, maybe we could do it toward the end, so we know, what we have, what we're really working with toward the end of the budget, once we get through all the issues. Just, new guys saying something. I think it would be better to have it as an issue toward the end, rather than deciding it right in the middle.
I think that makes sense.
Why don't we wait and see what Mike was
Yeah.
talking about, see what information comes of that.
Yeah, we're just gonna need the committee to meet soon, because the contract ends June 30th. Obviously, we're introducing March 1st, so we're not gonna have those prices back.
Andrew took Mosi,
Can you pass that down? Great.
What part?
Sorry, I'm late.
If a resident pays
The
money
budget's
to
on
the
what?
garbage company, can they put the bulk on?
We're looking to introduce it March 1st.
No, well, I don't
To
know.
a private company.
Yeah, 2 hours.
You don't slip
I
it
know
right
they
from
can
August
Yeah,
to
until
June.
it's items being disposed of,
Right,
and it's
and
stopped and
that's a
set.
no one, that's a no
A
one.
resident can pay for their own bulk pickup.
Right, but it was our contract.
Yeah, no, it's just.
Because we pay for the tonnage and the problem becomes the next garbage.
And what would happen if you're allowed to put out one item, it's all put out 3 items, and then we're chasing them down to get those 2 items on the street.
Let's go.
Right.
Committee to meet and discuss that, and probably get back to us before the next budget meeting.
You may wanna think of doing what Cranford or other municipalities do, where you come in and you buy a ticket. And you're allowed 750 pounds. You can get everybody on the block to chip in and have both day in front of somebody's house and on the block, and the truck gets a route from the issued permits and goes out to the addresses and fix them up.
So we're looking forward to it. We do have a closed session item dealing with our trash pickup contract, so that we can discuss it at that time.
Okay. Mark, just to bring you up to speed on the last 3 items we were talking about, since you're the chair of municipal services. We're talking about the bridge painting. The lighting by the bridge, it's gonna be municipal services / lighting committee. And then, possibility of, bulk waste and discussing the garbage contracts. We'll have to do-
Lighting by the bridge is which bridge?
The one in Chestnut and Locust.
Okay, I'm gonna be asking, I guess, the council, and I don't know, it might not be budgetary, the issue might be just DPW. I spoke with Vince, like a year ago, talking about the community garden, to create the beds, to be able to put the dirt into them. I don't know, the wood that needs to be used, can they just go out and buy it? Or is that something we should consider a budget item?
If you're just talking about, you know,
I was thinking more like
four
over railroad ties
posts,
or
you know.
whatever, but.
Creosote?
Right, yeah, that's creosote.
Where they
Pressure
going?
treated.
That's what I'm
Posts,
asking,
like-
right, I'm
Community
asking
garden?
to see if that's something that needs to be,
Is that this community center you're talking about, or?
no, we haven't determined the final location. To put them up like Rawway has, I reached out to Rawway and they said they had to buy them.
Well, we're not supplying the dirt and everything, right? I mean.
I don't know, nothing.
water?
Nothing, no, not the water, but I haven't
Spigots?
determined something, for the environmental committee, we'll bring it to the council, and then once everything's finalized, I just wanna bring it up, I don't know if it's something that needs to have budgetary consideration.
Not on the environmental or the Casano, but maybe a pilot program in the back of the Casano to see how much interest there even is.
That's
Maybe
fine.
try it out before we go through.
Yeah,
Set
yeah.
up something.
Right, and I'm I was gonna push to see how many people would be interested first. I had put out.
I don't know, I believe the cassette on the back is protected land, I don't know what you can do there, which is why I think they built that one garden they had there up, rather than digging down, but I'm pretty sure that was open space protecting it.
But it would be built
Limitations
up
on what
also,
you
it
can-
wouldn't be digging in.
Plus the people, I would assume, would want to be able to get to it at all different times.
Instead of climbing the
If it's
fence.
closed on a Sunday, you know what I mean, 'cause it's fenced in.
I mean, just something to consider. I'm just putting out, no rush on it, but winter coming.
Okay. We just got the tax duplicate in. We're down, net valuation taxable's down $1,281,039. So, as you can see, we took a hit in that net valuation taxable. Just a quick recap, the 2% cap levy or amount to be raised by taxes last year was $10,628,925.93. 2% without any exceptions would be $212,578.52. State aid, still haven't heard any different signals, and just briefly what I've heard about the governor's state of the state address, that New Jersey's supposed to be on the up and up, and so let's anticipate that the state income tax cut he's talking about isn't gonna be coming from state aid figures. So, plan on keeping that level right now. Pension estimates, we're looking to only have an increase of $12,509 in PRS this year. PFRS is looking at a $82,519 decrease. Health insurance, we did get, Aetna's up at 8.6%. Verizon went down to, a typo there, it's 6.77%. Verizon prescription, which we switched, went down 10.81%. Delta Dental stayed the same at 0% increase. Debt service overall for 2012 is up $25,690.44. In terms of garbage, which we touched on briefly before, the garbage contract expires June 30th. We need the committee to sit. Vince said he had some talk about some possible changes. If anybody on council has any ideas or recommendations, or please forward that to the committee before they meet, because we've got to get those changes in place and done and get out to bid. That's a 60-day process, excuse me, for the bids to be out. Bulk waste last year, the cost for the pickup was $11,700 and the disposal was $26,323.92, for a total cost for just one pickup of $38,023.92. Currently, there are since last year, there have been 2 vacant positions. The foreman position and the equipment operator totaling $123,565.65. We talked about, in lieu of replacing the employees, looking at a landscaping service to maintain all borough properties except the detention basin, and the possibility of looking at street sweeping and the cleaning of borough buildings. I know we have specs that went to the attorney. I think they were approved by the attorney, and just the final.
One's out now and the other one will go out.
So, to look at the pricing there, obviously, we don't know the exact cost until we come in, but from talking with other towns of what they've gotten for some landscaping things, we think it might be a beneficial payoff to save money but get the results done. So, we'll see what happens when those bids are open.
Hey, Ken,
Yes?
those numbers for the foreman and the operator, that includes health benefits?
No, that's just the salary. currently under the police department, we now have 3 positions open. We have the retirement of lieutenant, the patrolman 5th level, and now we just had a resignation of patrolman at level 2. Those salaries, just the salaries total $256. If you replace them with the patrolman, the 7 to 12 month probation, which is a graduate of the academy, you're looking at the salary wise of $49,970.68. We haven't heard anything about what the grant numbers might look like for the Safe and Secure grant, which renews March 3rd. I'm working with the chief to see if we can try and find out where that number is looking for this year coming, so they haven't released anything yet.
Did we lose money last year in the grant? when we
Yes,
hired?
the year before it was 60,000. Just the grant itself went down, the funds weren't available through the state, so.
So it wasn't because
It wasn't
we didn't
because
hire
of- right.
until March.
If we don't hire, we lose the grant, so. And right now, we're in a wiggle area right now, so.
We were in a middle area last year, right this time, so.
The red light cameras, we do have to increase the budget for them this year, because remember, they started in May, so you need to budget for the full year. And also, we had the certifying mailings, which totaled just under $8,000. Prorating it, although they're working with the AOC to get that requirement eliminated, so, but we just don't know when that's gonna happen yet, so. And we still haven't heard from the county. I'm working on getting in touch with them about if they're gonna continue the program for this year. I don't see why they wouldn't. The public safety standpoint of it, I will leave that to the police chief to discuss with you guys. I can tell you from the finance side of it, the number of paid tickets from May through December totaled 5,817. At $46 a ticket, you're talking about $267,582. The cost for us as a municipality for 2011 was $83,344.25, and the county paid their share. So you came in with an excess of $184,000. So the program wouldn't sustain itself. So
What happens if the county chooses not to continue?
if they choose not to continue, we bear the full cost of $19,000 per month. Right now, we're splitting that $9,500 each.
They're also getting something from the.
They get,
8%.
They get $27.50 a ticket. So,
You said the chief would address the safety aspect of it since the red light cameras were put in.
yes,
There've
it's
been-
put in
there've
as a
been-
safety issue. I
There
mean.
have been no pedestrian accidents in that area, and I don't think, I haven't heard of any vehicle accidents in that area, so from the safety perspective, I think they may be working.
The chief, when I had a meeting with the chief, he did say that all tickets that are potential violations are sent over to the RQPD to be reviewed before ticketed. And that has increased their manning needs as well, because now there's an officer that has to review the tape or review the incidents as they come in. So that was something that I wasn't aware of prior to the meeting, so I just want to make all members of council know, you probably knew that already, everything gets reviewed. He said that because there's so many tickets, that it is a certain amount of hours per week that does go into that.
The only thing I want to caution on that is I believe the ticket's reviewed by the company first, then they're weeded out, and then the tickets are sent to our police department. So they're not getting every ticket that's.
That's correct, but they are getting all of these, right? The ones that actually went, that's correct.
Just as a reminder, the assistant treasurer is retiring. So as of April 1st, there will be a vacancy in the finance office. The court is looking for additional help. Currently, you have the court administrator, 2 deputy court administrators, and 1 part-time person. They're looking for 1 full-time person, which will cost more, obviously, due to health benefits, ranging roughly from $33,000 to $49,800, depending on what type of, if you hire full-time, what type of medical benefits, whether it be single, husband, wife, parent, child, family. So that's the drastic change there. Currently, you're paying the part-timer $12.02 per hour at 20 hours per week. For 52 weeks, it would cost you $12,500.80. If you double that, it would cost $25,001.60. Part-time would give you more hours as opposed to, give you about 40 hours per week as opposed to 35 if you do 2 part-timers. So, it's something we have to continue to discuss. Something new that came in is recreation. We were contacted by the school that they are now charging for Sunday events to cover overtime costs for janitors, $60 per hour.
Is that the janitor fee of the school?
That's what,
I'm sorry, I'm the rec liaison, but I wasn't aware
I
that this
just-
call came to, so I would have brought it up.
we just found this out, so,
We have soccer this Sunday,
well,
eight Sundays, but I don't think the rec is aware, I mean, at least that I know.
well, I heard from the gentleman in charge of soccer, well, I don't know if he's in charge, but runs the indoor soccer.
John
Stella
Vista?
Vista.
Okay.
But that's something I need to
He's
bring
aware
back
of
to the
John?
committee.
Okay,
Well, I gotta get a requisition set up to cover this cost. Apparently, there's also a conflict now because they booked a wrestling tournament one of the same days as soccer.
well, we had the Dad's Cup tournament last week on Sunday, so I'm not sure which tournament this is regarding.
February 5th,
Must be
I
the
think it
state,
is.
perhaps.
So,
I'll speak to it.
and the wrestling one's gonna cost $720 because they said due to a tournament, you need to have 2 janitors for the cleanup.
Okay.
So they have 8 days scheduled for soccer, costing $2,880. And wrestling will cost $720, so I'll need requisition sent in to get that encumbered, and because the school's waiting.
They're waiting for us to pay them?
Well, they're
Or
waiting,
so that we're
when we're trying to
understanding?
explain to recreation, you need to have a requisition has to be handed in a PO. So the board, we're trying not to cancel any of the events, but,
What the hell are they?
you know, my concern becoming is that if they didn't know all of this, and now all of a sudden you get hit, and they're asking me if there's money, and we have money, and they go to order a piece of equipment because they thought they had money, and then
Right.
I didn't know about the janitor bill, you know,
Well,
so.
this
Why
came
this
up,
is a new thing? I'm
this
sorry.
came up at the prior rec meeting that they had heard that the Board of Ed may start charging, however, nothing final was ever said to them. Or I think even to us. So for them to contact us this week and tell us, oh, come Sunday, we're charging you, I don't really think that was fair.
Have you confirmed it with the Board of Ed?
We spoke to Sue Gershia.
Called last week.
When are they doing
Was
it
there
though,
some, maybe there
tonight?
was correspondence last week, or maybe they passed something last week, last year, I mean?
She told me that was gonna be the charge, so.
Yeah, I knew it was in the talks, but I didn't know anything was
And
in
you
charge.
wanted to go for last year, I said you're
I'm having a problem with the committee.
Okay.
Making us go to it.
Let me speak to the rec committee, I don't.
I need the committee to review the fees, obviously, because I don't know.
They just increased fees, yeah?
Why is this a new thing? So they weren't doing it last year, they just felt like doing it
Well,
this year?
she
because-
said she encouraged them to do it when the school was there, and it wouldn't be a cost. This is only on a Sunday when there's no janitors in the building.
Okay.
And you have to have the black seal because of the boilers, so.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm certainly not happy about it, but it makes sense that they'd want to recover the cost.
I understand,
Right.
it's just like, it's a give and take, we do so much, different partnerships with the Board of Ed, the different things that we don't charge for that we easily could.
Well, should we try
It's
to,
a balance.
should we try to guide, at least the soccer program to play on Saturdays instead of Sundays?
I'll speak to them, I don't know if there's other events going on Saturdays, I don't know why Sunday was chosen. I do know this Sunday is when the first indoor soccer rec games begin. So as soon as we leave here,
I mean,
I'll reach out.
from my end, I'm a little concerned that somebody can push through us spending $2,800. You know what I mean, we're the budget committee. This should have been put up to us ahead of time to determine all this. And now all of a sudden, we're coming here and somebody's saying, give me a bill. Well, what's to stop any other committee or entity from doing that? You
well,
know
the
what I
rec
mean?
committee's defense, I don't think they were aware of this.
Well,
They
we
didn't
gotta
mention
look
the
into
meeting
it.
again last week.
Well, I've been at the meetings.
Well, it's not, just remember, we
Well,
haven't
they just
increased
contacted us this
our
week and said that now
budget
it's
for
active.
recreation.
No, I understand it, but I remember when this whole thing started, because I talked to some of the people who wanted to do it, and it was kind of rushed through and pushed through, and that's fine as long as everything's done, but again, if you set a precedent that one committee can suddenly come in here and say, okay, now I need $2,800 because I rushed this through, what's to stop anybody else? I mean, now football's coming in, guess what? Now we need this expense. I mean, we're supposed to be the budget committee. It's supposed to come to us, we give it the blessing or no. You
Well, I
know.
think that's what we're doing here. The rec committee didn't come to
No,
us, the
but-
board of ed
Everything
came to
set up.
us.
No, but they already charged them for it. So now what if we say no now?
No, they-
Does it
They-
fold?
They haven't had the
Right,
event yet,
right.
so.
Last-
No, I know people who
Last
paid.
year, they wanted us to pay for it.
No, right,
We said no.
they paid for,
They paid, people have paid for this already.
They
Oh,
paid to
people-
join indoor soccer, they haven't paid to use the school on Sunday. Because the rec committee,
No, I was told they paid an extra $25 per person over last year's dues to pay for this.
this is the first year we're having indoor soccer.
No, I understand that, but what they told me was there was a $25 increase to pay for the school.
Who's they? I'm the rec liaison, who was they that
One
said
of your
this?
people who play.
In September.
Who
we
signed
My
up?
kids
raised-
are registered, it costs $35 for my kids to play indoor soccer.
Maybe I'm giving misinformation.
Yeah,
This is the
we-
first
we-
year of indoor soccer.
We increased rec rates in September, I believe. But indoor soccer hasn't been an ongoing program.
No, I understand
It
that.
hasn't been in place, so I don't know why anybody was there.
Didn't need an ordinance to establish.
Yeah, that's
the
why
fee.
recreation needs to
You can't charge a
look
fee
at the
without an
fees,
ordinance.
because if they've changed it, those ordinances have to be
They
changed.
didn't change the indoor soccer fee, this is a brand new program, which I believe was slipped when, on one of the other, agendas, when it was discussed. I believe it was in there somewhere about indoor soccer, this is the first year they're doing it. They've never had an indoor
I
soccer
think it was in
season.
September. Can we take a look at?
Yeah, I know,
the-
not in recent
Well,
years.
not
The
recent years.
resolution, if we
We have
need to
Government
change it.
was trying to bring it
Well, we
back,
need-
and
we
they tried
need
to
to
trying to.
I don't know if you're trying to help
An
kids,
ordinance
but you gotta do it the right way.
establishing
Well, please take a
Yeah,
look
just
first
come in
at the
and
one
give
we
them
did in
money.
September and make sure it wasn't included on there. And if it wasn't
Need
included,
a whole
then
new
let's,
board of
let's
ed,
take a look
which
at it.
is-
Now I know how they're talking about zero numbers, they're gonna keep defraying the cost.
Absolutely.
Now with that,
Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
now the question is
It should
that
be
soccer
a-
fee, what is that paying for if they've collected the
That's
money?
right, I agree with that.
That's paying for, the equipment and the uniforms, that's as far as I know. And also the wraps, there's also the wraps.
We were paying in partially work on the board of ed for the youth center.
That's the recycling center, that's what I call that.
They've used this building for their meeting, I mean, we didn't charge, you know.
That's what I was just gonna
that's what I'm
ask
saying, like,
about,
where's the balance?
soccer,
Where's the
soccer on the
balance?
Sunday, I don't know. Is that gym big enough for the, I don't know how big of a gym is needed, you know, so.
I believe the rec committee chose Sundays because that was a day of no conflict on the looking at the calendar for the high school. However, they were also under the assumption they weren't gonna be charged for it, so this changes everything.
Right.
So I need to have a chance to contact them tonight after the meeting and see what we're gonna do. So, I mean, if they're going to ask that we continue on, then we need to approve the increase. And I don't foresee that, so.
Can I,
Any suggestions would be great, because I wish I'd known about this a couple hours ago, I would have made phone calls and had some information.
And if by some chance this does one way or the other, just make sure that nobody rides recreation's coattails. What was happening was recreation would be paying for, say, Sundays, from 12 to 3, for indoor soccer. Well, we got the gym, next thing you know, in the cafeteria is the color guards. They're
'Cause we're
coming
there
in,
anyway,
they're
right.
coming in on the coattails
Take advantage.
because
Yeah.
we're paying for the janitor. Well, guess what? If you wanna come in on Sunday and use the cafeteria, fine.
Split the fees.
It's 3 hours, you're gonna pay for 3, and we're gonna pay for 3. So all I'm saying is just make sure that nobody rides recreation's
Right.
coattails.
If it's the soccer, it's just soccer in there,
Right.
not no.
So all of a sudden, next thing you
band
know,
or-
bingo, in comes the color guards or somebody else and this, and before you know it, you know, next thing you know, there could be a couple of wrestlers going into the gym
Yeah.
because recreation's paying for the janitor.
Or school functions.
Well, as long as it's rec wrestlers.
But it's fine,
Fine.
fine, what I'm trying to say is that, believe
I
me,
know what you're saying. That's-
people, they catch on very quickly, oh,
If it's a
by the
school function,
way.
I disputed it that way. There's no way a school function's gonna happen on a Sunday.
Party
You're
crash.
Paying for it.
There you go.
Okay, so,
There'll be
I
no Girl
guess,
Scout events there.
I guess for now, it's a two-pronged question. First of all, whether we need to pass an ordinance with regard to the fees that the indoor soccer program is charging. And second of all, whether we are even going to consider paying this or if we're going to tell the rec program, which I think the first indoor soccer is this Sunday coming up.
I would prefer to leave the meeting for a minute and try to contact our
You
rec
mind doing
director,
that?
yeah.
You mind if we move on?
And February 5th is
Because
a conflict.
in all
of
seriousness,
interest for
the ice
wrestling
rink
and
on
soccer.
22 where my son plays,
Mhm.
they have an indoor field that I think they can play. It's like $10 an hour, like, or something, and I'm sure you could work out a
Right.
deal, it'd be a heck of a lot cheaper than what this guy's doing. Yeah.
Yeah, let me just at least have the
Oh,
chance
John
for them to
Kennedy,
figure out what
right?
to do. Yes, John Kennedy. Excuse me.
Okay, well, let's move along with the other issues. in the
The library, I'm sorry, I apologize, I forgot who the library liaison is this year. Their library minimum contribution for
Oh, I'm
2012
sorry, I'm sorry, Mike, I'm sorry.
is $386,240.83, which is a decrease of $23,021.57 from 2011 minimum of $409,262.40. Now, I know when they had the 409, there was questions and concerns that they weren't gonna be able to make it and do it, so this is another decrease. I haven't heard anything budgetary-wise from them.
They haven't held their first meeting of the year yet.
Oh, they haven't.
Not yet, it should be on Wednesday, and at that point,
Wednesday.
yeah, package should have gone out, but that's beyond the
So
point.
obviously, their decrease is gonna be more than that when you factor in the increase on health benefits. So, it's a loss here plus
A loss on their
a
end.
loss on the health benefit, their payover for the health benefits, so.
Last year, they took over a lot of the things that we have been paying for previously, and it was really tight for them. I don't foresee that they'll be able to do it and maintain the hours of operation with an additional $23,000 cut, so it's something we need to consider, whether we want to give them a little extra over and above the minimum required to give them.
Coming off as the president of that board from last year, it was tight. We'll see tomorrow, see if I can get to the meeting. I'd like to see how we made out, what the bills were like in December, to see how we met budget or how we got it.
I can't make it tomorrow because I didn't host tomorrow.
I
Would you be able to go in for me then?
Yeah, I'll definitely try to go as long as there is a meeting, unless there's some change that I'm unaware of. But it was tight. I certainly wouldn't advise this council to add anything more. And when I say that, I mean, let's not talk about adding, more costs on their end. Let's not add pension. I know we talked about that, between the two finance committees, because they really won't be able to handle it at this point. And it's not because they're paying for a ton of other things, it's because they've absorbed, full medical costs for 12 months. There may be some other areas they can cut, but at that point, it gets to be, what are we really doing here? Are we just saving money, or are we actually providing a service?
Is there a surplus in the budget? So I know when I was.
There is a
2 years
surplus in the
ago.
budget, but actually in the budget that we approved, the board of trustees approved, we actually used some of the surplus. So if we continue down this road, I'd say 3-4 years from now, there won't be a surplus, and then at that point, we'll be in a huge problem, because it'll be like in one pocket, paying into another, because, if we defer these costs to the library, and at some point they can't pay for them, we need to keep a library open. We'll have to give more than the statutory minimum, so we're not doing ourselves a service in the long run.
So how much is in that surplus? I mean,
Offhand, Ken, do you know, was it
150 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, it's not 150.
I don't know what this year's is.
I think it's around 120. I don't know what it is currently. It was 150 several years ago.
At the end of 2010, It was 116.
So 116. So what I'm saying is that if we continue down this road, even with the current budget that we had in last year, you know, we're, you know, it's nice to see that we have a $23,000 decrease that we have to send them, but at some point, their surplus is gonna run out, and their operating is just gonna take over. You know, we're gonna have to end up giving them more than the statutory minimum.
At the meetings this year, we discussed simple things like changing the manning around and things like that. And the library did make some adjustments to try to come within budget, but to cut them an additional $23,000, which is what the state minimum is, I don't think they'll be able to operate that way. So I think we need to take a look at it and figure out how we're going to make the library run efficiently, with us probably having to provide a little bit over the statutory minimum.
Well, what I'll suggest tomorrow, if it's okay with the council, I'm gonna go back to them, I'm gonna tell them to submit a budget. Something they haven't done in years. I mean, it's something simple that every
I
department.
mean,
does.
I know they stopped doing it because we told them they were only gonna get the required minimum.
Right.
But if they show needs, the governing body, you know, will sit down and look at it.
I'd like them
Or
to
bring
submit a
them in if
budget
it's,
and,
you
you
know.
know, I mean, I know on my end, I didn't last year, and that's probably a fault of mine, I probably should have, but I didn't. But this year, I mean, looking back, it's gonna be hard for them because, like Ken, you said, medical gonna go up, they're gonna pick up all that, and then it's the 23,000 that they're also losing, so I'd like them to submit a budget just for a review.
So that's something we need to look at going forward once we get their information.
And I did ask for a report from the library, which I haven't received, about how many active people actually use the library. Because I know for the ASYC Center, I know it's not a library, but I have to let the council know how many kids actually use it to justify $100,000, and how many people are using this building to justify $400,000. So if I can get a report on that, I asked her several times. I did ask Laura Hahn, she said she would try to get something for me.
When did you ask Laura? I'm just asking because I don't know.
Laura, actually, we were emailing back and forth yesterday. I'm gonna help her with something that came up at the last council meeting. Some recommendations, some ideas I had regarding our antiquated library and the possibility of joining forces with the Board of Ed and not having that library, but whatever. I don't see the need.
That's another road.
I don't see the need for 6 libraries in a 1-mile town. Perhaps because I did grow up partially in Barwood in here, and we didn't have our own library in
Right.
town. We went to the schools, and if you needed something more, you went to Cranford. Now you go online. So the need to have a $400,000 library, to me, I don't get it. I know there's plenty of library, well, not plenty, there's about 30 library dwellers in town. I'm sure that will picket my home for saying it, but I would like to look into that possibility rather than constantly finding ways to keep them open and try to find a reason for a functionality for this building.
Well, I think.
People that go there just to search for jobs when they can drive to Elizabeth and go to the unemployment office, or have their adult section. And if my children go there, they have to go past that to get downstairs. How about the children's section is upstairs? How about we do different, I don't know, but
I'm not
Anyway,
here,
I'm sorry,
I'm not
Andrew,
here to
what were you
speak for the
saying?
library, it's not my job anymore. But, I can ask them to submit a budget, and I think that will be very telling to all of us.
yeah.
You know,
I'm
what
sure
what
most
the
of it is
viability,
personnel.
what the viability of the building and the service they provide is, and, you know, we'll see.
I would
That's
just
all I can say.
like to know how many people utilize the library in today's day and age.
I can ask them for that, but I can't guarantee.
Program.
I can't
Not how
provide.
many people have cards.
Right, right,
How many
I
have-
understand.
check out a book.
I got you.
That's Sean Kennedy, I'll be back.
Oh, you hadn't spoken?
Hey, John.
Okay. Let's move on to the liability insurance.
Liability insurance, got the rates, most of the rates in, looking at an estimated increase of $7,000.
Okay, so the
From
registration.
285 up to 292 in 2012. Workers' comp, you're looking at an increase of 38,150, from 366,500 in 2011 to 404,650 in 2012.
Is there a reason why that jumped up so much?
Claims,
Based on your use.
fortunately we have claims, so
We had that many claims?
we
One
had
employee,
one employee that was out for
Whole year.
so,
Okay.
it wasn't out the whole year.
Well, yeah,
It was
he
out
was
a
here.
quarter of the year,
Yeah.
which was a carryover too from, so.
thing about workers' comp insurance is that it never goes down. Once it goes up,
Right.
you stay there, you never go down.
But I know that they've offered some free training, so, you
A
know,
couple more first of all, they cut, whatever they cut in compensation for the Lord employees, so it pays not to get injured. I mean, it's gonna happen, I mean, but sometimes
Training
you
you can do to
can
get credits and.
suck it up.
Okay.
so, then this was brought up from, previous meetings about, chief administrative officers, or are you looking to hire them?
I reiterate that it's very difficult for me not to have a focal point in town during the day. So I'm pushing for us to look at hiring a chief administrative officer. Comments about that?
I don't know.
We're talking about the administrative officer. I know the last budget meeting I asked for us to come back with ideas. Do we wanna hire somebody? Do we wanna spread the responsibilities among the department heads and have the council liaison oversee certain things, like myself as the HR, I'll be emailing the department heads to notify me of their absences on a monthly basis, so I can keep track of them, and then be able to compile a report for the council before every second meeting of the month, or to hire the department chief administrative officer to be able to be that liaison to the council.
I had, to me, if anybody was gonna be hired for it, in my opinion, it would have been Doreen. So I'm not against the person that applied for this position, or we were seeking to put in a position, I'm against the position. So to put this here, saying, okay, Doreen's not the person, let's look for somebody else, I'm not quite sure. I'm not against Doreen, I'm against the position. So, I don't know.
Something I've said is I think we need to review the ordinance. I think that's come from a lot of people, members of the public have said that to me. It's not the person in the position, no matter who it is, it's the duties that the position has. Some people think that the position has way more responsibility. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think it's something the council should consider reviewing the ordinance, or just the wording of the ordinance.
Madam Clerk, can I ask you to put the ordinance on the agenda for this week for review, not for any other issues? That way we all know to look at it and review it for Thursday.
Can I just email it to everybody?
Please, but I'd like it on the agenda so that everybody knows the time.
Well, what am I doing with it on the agenda?
If you put it under old business or something, put, you know, review of the new ordinance numbers, so that way we know it's on the agenda to talk about it.
I don't really necessarily agree with that, just because it's not something to be voted on. If we
Yeah,
put it on the
that's what I'm
agenda, you're bringing it up to the public already before we make a decision on it. I'd rather not have it on there, and rather discuss it, and maybe at the next budget meeting.
Come back with recommendations.
That's,
I'm just
yeah.
I agree
It's-
with
it's-
that.
it's-
tossing out an idea.
Sending it to committee for it's just the duties. I mean, looking at the ordinance, it's not complicated, it's just a list of duties. And all, the committee, whatever committee we send it off to, has to look at is the duties. And the committee can send recommendations back.
I'm okay with sending it to committee. I'd like to have a good, solid discussion about it and do something about it. And if it's part of this budget process, it needs to be done quickly. I reiterate again that there's just no focal point for us to contact one person in town to get everything done during the day. So that's my biggest concern about not having a chief administrative officer.
That's actually the problem I have with the ordinance. That's the one piece I have. If I'm the liaison to something, I think it's my responsibility to reach out to that department. But I think, so that's the one piece, it's not the rest of it. I'm sorry, I think this is wrestling. Sorry, back. Yes.
But just add to that,
Oh, hi, how are you?
look at and I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying one way or another, I voted for it, but I thought it was an essential part in some cases, and in others I didn't agree, but, part of the reason members of council, just in this borough, perhaps in comparison to other boroughs, are getting a higher salary amount was because of taking the responsibility to do a lot of those administrative duties that perhaps other towns heavily rely on the, chief administrative officers. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. I have no personal reservation to keeping track of hours and things like that with different department heads and following up with them if they're not responding that information to me. So I mean, just my point of view.
I have an update on indoor soccer, which, much as it burns me to say, Mark was right. The fee that was collected, yeah, Mark was right. The
What?
fee that was collected, well, we don't have a line item for it. So John LaVista collected a fee, $35 per player, came up to $5,420 he collected. However, his intention for the fee was not given, so there's no line item for it. However, he's not using that $5,420 for anything more than to cover the fees for the high school. John LaVista was aware there was gonna be fees when he booked the dates. However, that information, because he was not at the last rec meeting, was not transferred over. So,
Where's
yes.
that money? Where's that money?
It's already been given to Ken, I believe, for deposit.
Yeah, but again, there's no resolution or ordinance.
Well, that's the part, that's the missing piece.
Well,
So the money's been collected,
Well, there's a
but
whole
we
bunch of
haven't.
parts there. There's no resolution ordinance.
Right.
You got a guy who just unilaterally by himself decided what to charge, didn't show up at the meeting to inform the rec committee what he was doing,
Well,
and all of a sudden we're supposed to kick in to pay for it?
no, the rec
And
committee
he's already
knew-
charging money for it?
The rec committee knew he was running an indoor soccer program. He's running it along with Anthony Trezza, who is our council liaison. They
Right.
created the program, permission slips, they went about everything correctly except for this piece of it.
Most important.
Notifying us.
Or getting approval by the board
You
of
know what,
charge?
George, but
I
in
just-
their defense,
I
we
just
were
think
going through directives.
part of it needs to be
Jackie was
clarified.
on her way out, John was on his way in.
They're
This
not,
was decided in 2011, this was Jackie Taluba's job to let us know.
I understand that.
so to sum it up shortly, the main part of it is they
I
collected the
do
fee
understand.
to cover the cost,
Right.
just there's no ordinance, which is the biggest part to start with. So you have to get on the agenda for this meeting,
Well, there could
amending
be,
that fee ordinance at
Yeah.
least.
indoor
to-
soccer could be mentioned somewhere in a
Well, I
prior.
mean, we'll
Besides
double
the
check
legal
that, but if
fee.
it's
But the
not,
intention of the $35 might not be mentioned within it, but it may be on a prior agenda.
I mean, Doreen and I will look at the
Well,
recreation fee
ordinance.
ordinance.
You know.
But
And if it's
$35 covers the 2,800.
Yes, and it more than covers it. But you collected $5,420.
But because of that, have we made a decision as to whether or not we're increasing the amount we're paying to the rec committee for their budget?
Why would
we-
we increase it if they,
No, because the last meeting, we discussed how they may need more money for operating expenses. So again.
But we didn't get into any part of
I wasn't
discussion
here at
on
the last
that
budget
yet.
meeting, I mean, I didn't come in and say that the rec needed more money.
That we haven't even touched yet. I mean, just so you know, I mean, we didn't discuss anything about that
No, no,
earlier.
I
It's
understand.
just-
I'm having a problem with people running around spending money, and we don't get, you know what I mean? I don't want people running around creating stuff, spending money, and then coming to us saying, give us the money. There's a proper procedure. If they couldn't get this league set up in enough time to do it right, they shouldn't have done it. They shouldn't have charged people, and they shouldn't have gone ahead full born, and then come to us with their handout saying, I need $2,800, because the Board of Ed is now charging us. I mean, that's the problem I have. This is a microcosm of what goes on in government. If this happens and we allow this to happen, and again, I'm all for the kids doing it, but it's gotta be done right. Now what happens? Because you know, a small town, all of a sudden, fire department, hey, we just needed new boots. We need $2,800. I mean, this is kind of what happened last year, where there was a little bit of money, and everybody started coming forward, well, if you're giving them money, I need the money.
But they're not asking us for money, they raised the money, so if the fire department wants to stand outside on the street and shake a can until they have enough money to buy their boots, and on top of it, they collected more than the boots, so now they want a little emblem for their jacket, and the only thing we need to do is update the ordinance to let it happen, I'm okay with that. Did they go through the proper procedure? No, I think that it was more of a miscommunication, we had the director, an old director going, a new director coming.
I actually agree with what Ms. Torres is saying. The big difference here is that they're not asking us for money, they raised the money. Did they raise it properly? It looks like probably not, but they raised the money to cover the expense.
And I'm not saying I disagree with her, as long as in the end, this doesn't backdoor 3 months from now, we're giving them another $3,000 to cover this expense. Because last meeting, it was brought up that our budget's being cut, it's not fair, we may need some more money. And now we find out why, because they're $2,800 in the hole.
And I can also ask, I guess, back when they did this, when they did the increase, to charge more, why didn't they, the old director, or whoever, the committee, nobody came to us and said, this is what we're looking to do, are you okay with it? And they came.
They don't have to get permission from us to run a rec program. They need permission for the line item, yes.
Right, that's what I mean, that's what I mean.
So I do agree that the line item should have been priorly approved, which had I known about this earlier, this wouldn't all be coming out now. However, priorly approved. However, they actually collected the money, and now they're saying, I have it.
In this case, it was a good
Yes.
cause, but I'm not arguing that.
But if they come with us later on asking for money that they don't have in their account, then we just say no.
I guess it could, what if it was done not into the benefit, if you think of it that way? If it wasn't something that, okay, well, now it kind of helps us make a decision.
How could it not be done in the benefit? I'm giving you an example, I'm not sure I'm following what you're
Say
saying.
it wasn't rec, say it was another department that decided to charge an excess amount increase for some external program that they're
Wait a
running.
minute, there's no other departments that charge.
No, I think that'd be
Right.
really,
There's
we
no
would be
other
talking about a whole
departments
nother
that
thing. I mean, on our end right now, we
A
have to
fee.
pass an ordinance, or we don't, and somehow we have to make up this money.
They
Unless
have-
I'm reading that the
Correct,
wrong way.
they have parents that agree with the program, they did, John LaVista and Anthony Trezza did go through the rec committee, get approval, they went through all the steps. The rec committee did not bring it to us.
Right,
The
that's
rec
the
committee did
step
not
that was
come to
missing.
me as the council member and say, I need this ordinance. The rec committee
Right.
did not hold a ring and say, I need this put on.
But they're
So-
not, the bottom line is they're not asking for this money. How they got it, right or wrong, you know,
Well, they did get it legally,
they
so
got
let's
it,
not-
they got it legally,
Right.
but they didn't get it by a fee set by one of our ordinances. That's the bottom
Who
line.
told Ken that we now have to cover our portion for the janitorial service?
Also,
Was that
what
came from the
I'm
Board of
saying, I
Ed or
think-
from rec?
Sue Gershon.
Sue Gershon.
Okay.
Board of Ed.
Okay.
But what I'm saying to you, when we need this requisition, it's coming out of the recreation trust account. It's gonna come out against the soccer line. Remember, the end of last year, it was asked and everybody decided that we're gonna take our line item of what we put in the budget, instead of it being a use it or lose it, we said we would transfer it into the trust, so then they can use it. And if they don't need it all in this year coming, and the trust, it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling.
Right,
So,
so this is actually
But
a good
it's-
thing. I mean, not
the
not
only
the order
bad
of
thing that
things.
happens is
Now they have more
until we
money.
review the ordinances, if they
Correct.
didn't, that's the only problem we have
But
right
now
now.
they're banking money into this fund, which something else may come along, and this leads to self-sufficiency over time. So, go
I
ahead.
mean, the other question I have is, our schools don't have janitors in them on Sundays?
No. So that's the thing. I understand why they're charging
But
it.
do they have them on Saturdays?
Yes.
So if we did this, if we could do it on a Saturday.
She made that clear to them. She had said, if you do it on a day we're already,
The reason why I bring that up.
we won't
is,
get charged.
As far as the Boy Scouts, we're doing a Pinewood Derby on a Saturday, and they're charging us for a janitor. So I'm a little curious.
Maybe, I can answer that, because technically you would be considered an outside
Right,
organization.
that's what I just want to know, because.
You're an outside organization. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts are
And
outside.
that's fine if that's
Even
the
though me
case.
personally, it's still within the community, it's an outside organization where recreation is part of it.
Right, but
That was
again,
part of the deal.
if they already have a janitor there on a Saturday, they shouldn't be charging an outside guy because he's there already.
Mark, and have you guys had another event there as Boy Scout? This will be your first one for this
This will
year.
be the first one.
Because I was told we're having our Girl
On the
Scout
weekend.
pancake breakfast on a Saturday, which all you fine folks were invited to, to work. And because it's the first Girl Scout event, they'll give you one freebie a year, I was told. This is our only Girl Scout event that they're not charging us for. That's what I was told, on a Saturday. So perhaps they're looking at you as falling under the same umbrella, so you
That
might
may
wanna
be
come.
something to talk about offline. 'cause-
Well, it's not a freebie, but I mean, the janitor is there, and it is a third party. It wasn't, no, this was something she said she does across the board.
I'm just saying that maybe the scouts can get together
Okay,
and talk
I mean,
to
it's
them.
not hidden. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
speak as scouts.
No, I mean, the reason why I bring it up is to find out what's really going on.
That's true.
Are they
Why would
are
there
they
be a
double
youth
charging
center?
us to help their budget? I mean, is this something that's
Casano
legitimate?
Center.
You know,
I can see that the $60 per hour that they wanna charge us, for the rec department is probably legitimate. And they said if we would've had this on Saturday, they wouldn't charge us, so I think it just makes sense. And in a way, you know, it's tax money that's going into another tax fund, so it's.
What's the day of your Pinewood Derby? 'Cause it'd be great promotion
Two
for,
weeks from now.
promotion for our thing. That's all.
Alright.
Well, on our end, I mean, what do we have to do on Thursday? We need the ordinance in place to establish.
Well, Doreen and I will check that in the morning, and if we need to, you'll see it on the agenda for introduction. And they charged how much, 35?
Actually, it was 30 for
35.
kids, it was 30 for kids who were already part of rec soccer, and 40 for kids who did not sign up for fall soccer. So you might wanna get all of the lingo from John LaVista. I don't wanna give you the wrong thing, or John
Is that
Kennedy.
his contact info?
Yes.
That's convoluted.
I average it down the middle, I guess, so.
Alright.
Okay.
Departments.
Say that again?
Departments, I don't know if you wanna start scheduling any departments, or, wait till I give you other figures on the first, and then see if you want specific departments in. I know the committees are gonna be meeting with departments to start discussing other topics and issues, so, all I request is that we get them done in the next couple of weeks, so when we come back on the first, we can move and, start making some decisions and answers and things of that nature. I know we have a couple items, for closed session,
Oh, I'm sorry.
but before that, we need to do public portion, or if anybody else has any comments.
With the departments, I'm sorry, with the departments, I mean, do we wanna start bringing them in? What's the consensus of the council there?
I think that was very effective last year.
I mean, I know we kinda picked, we didn't bring everybody in last year, we kinda picked and chosen who would be the one coming in based on any questions that came up. Do you wanna continue that same practice if we go through each department, or do you wanna call every department in?
How'd we do it last year? Did we do it by committee and groups? Did we do
Some
DD?
things
Finance
by
committee met with some of them,
right,
and then,
related, like,
And-
statewide.
and we just did that in an effort
Yeah,
of
right.
time.
That's what I thought.
Proposed.
Yeah,
and
I
that-
thought it
would actually
Get
work
a full
pretty well.
quorum
Yeah, I
and
thought-
things of that nature, so.
Oh,
I
from my
thought it was
perspective.
very effective because we got the people to sit here and we're like, really, do you need that?
We hashed out some of the
Kept them with, like,
basics.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was very effective.
Question I have for you, Chief Financial Officer. The last 3 years, I've seen that we were at X, and we had to get down to 99. Is there a difference this year?
That's up to you guys.
I don't know,
Yeah, no,
because every year you come up with
No, I-
that we're here.
Right. You'll have
Right
that.
now, I'm just,
You'll-
right
you'll
now,
have
we're
that
at
on the-
$285.
State aid's
To
gonna-
get down to 99, we have to do this. Is
I-
there something that,
I will
am I
have,
missing here?
I will have that for you. I apologize. My family has had some health issues,
Oh, I'm,
so I'm a little behind, but by the first, I will
all right,
be
I'm
caught
just,
back up for you.
I just,
and,
maybe because
have it
things
that
were a
way.
little bit, maybe,
No,
like
it's-
leaner that, you know.
I mean, with the major bulk of those big categories, things look better, but that's not the answer for everybody, so.
Right,
You know,
so we still have to
And, you know, we still have to talk and.
sharpen the pencil.
Right.
Okay.
But, you know, obviously, the last 2 years, the goal was to get the municipal portion under $100, so. I've heard from different individuals, different things they want this year, so,
We get our raise back?
I'm sorry?
Do we get our raise back? No, that was for 1
You
year.
gotta raise your pay.
My pay.
Oh, you mean the decrease, the
Yeah,
10%
the
cut
one that
you
we
took last year?
volunteer for 1 year.
That's,
No, absolutely not.
Alright,
that's up to you. If you get 3 members to agree with you, you got it back.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing I wanted to bring up that we discussed earlier was the courts, potentially hiring 2 part-timers. I don't know if you read the paper recently in J.com, I believe it was the town of New Providence. They had gone back in their records and they wanted to see over the years how many people had not completed paying out whatever their fine may have been. And it was quite a significant chunk of money that they were able to recoup. So I think maybe that's something we really need to put a little bit of a focus on. I know they're backed up there, I'm not saying it immediately, but there could be a significant chunk of money over 5 years, maybe anyone from 2 to 3 years ago that hasn't completed the payments that's outstanding that maybe we should look into, because I think there is some there's gonna be some funds in there available.
Or if she already does it.
If she already does it, I don't know, but that's something I think to look into. Council Miranda, if you could ask to see if there is a big list of numbers. No, she said she
I said
may,
if
she may or
or
she
if
may
she
not.
does. She might, I think I've already asked her that a couple of years ago.
She might, but I'd rather know rather
Well,
than.
I mean, we don't have a warrant, we don't have a warrant department, so if you're short, you know, if somebody doesn't continue to pay on their time payments,
Yeah.
it's a matter of,
Warrant service.
whatchamacallit.
Constables.
Constables, there you go.
But
So,
how that ordinarily works is, that if you don't make payments, they issue a bench warrant,
Right.
and then the person has to run afoul of the law. You get caught, they don't actually go out and arrest you for it.
No, but we could actually
Right.
go to a service to collect, can't we? Can you go to collection agency?
For warrants, you gotta be.
No, not for-
criminal.
No, if they're,
Fines, they're not.
if they have not paid, there
Or
are
fines?
certain things you can do, you have to do an RFP to get somebody, but let me talk to Maria and see how much is
Maybe
actually
nothing.
delinquent out there, so.
I'm sure it is significant. I'm sure it,
Oh, yeah, and again, what's the old proverbial saying like, how you gonna get blood out of a stone? Fine, throw me in jail.
Well, I know.
You know,
companies
most of the
that
people who don't pay move around a lot.
Right. They know the system.
So,
Sometimes 10 years.
I
before
think
you
it's
find
worth looking
somebody.
into, honestly. I think there's funds there. So, Providence said we can do it.
I wanna go on the record as saying something. I've noticed in the last month, a change in the mentality of just about everybody I deal with in government. Last year, we started out 1,086,000 in the hole. Everybody remembers I had a panic attack, it was my first meeting. Now that we're nowhere near that figure, I'm starting to see a lot of people coming with their hands out. That's all I hear from everybody I deal with, every department, every governmental person that I've spoken to, give me, hey, we need, it's ramping up again, okay? I'm a taxpayer. I will assure everybody here is my job to make sure that ain't happening. I already hear too many people talking about shoveling money back out the door. I got involved here to lower my property taxes. If we can lower it, I wanna lower it. And it ain't just grandstanding, okay? I know it's a difficult thing to do. I know there's things that are beyond our control. But I'm already hearing people putting the hand out, gimme, gimme, gimme. And I talk to my people in my ward, they don't want gimme, gimme, gimme no more. They want tax relief. So if we can, I'd like to see a decrease in the taxes.
I know a way to save $400,000 if you wanna get on board with me. I don't know what Buddy would do though during dog day.
When they go down, or gymnastics down
Books for sale.
I send at my job tomorrow,
Do
really.
I hear a
Give the
motion
bad
to
news.
go into the public portion of the meeting?
I'll make a motion to go into the public portion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Anyone wishing to speak? Please so vote.
Jacob Nagara, 612 Sheridan Avenue, Roselle. Mark, number one, mayor and council will not be taking a pay increase for the year 2012. Thank you. Romarovsky Bromstein, they're sitting on 4 acres of business property, paying only $100,000 in taxes. A home on Chestnut Street is paying approximately $23,000. The post office property is paying $16,000. What's wrong with this picture? Very quickly, petty stuff. Acker Park is missing a pine shrub. Aldine Park is not level at the black rubber area. Streets to be fixed, Sheridan Avenue South. Bulk pickup, Union has bulk pickups once a month. I don't know how they're doing it. It'd be a good idea to call them.
Those are huge.
What?
Bigger budget.
It's in the budget?
It's a bigger budget.
I don't know.
They were 22.
Roselle, the people that pick up our garbage. Caught my attention, I got up early in the morning, there used to be 3 men on the truck. Now, there's only 2. So there's a little savings there with that one guy. I don't know, maybe $50,000 a year plus benefit. Solar panels on the poles are only for public service use. The energy goes back to public service. In reference with the police department, Mr. Blum, it's costing us round figures, $256,000 a year for 2 police officers. To get a grant of $62,000?
No.
53.
Now, why don't we take that $62,000? Ooh,
It's
53,000.
53?
Yes, sir.
All right, why don't we take the 53,000 and red light money for 2 police officers and not go for the grant, which is costing us $256,000. Question, just a thought. In reference to the mayor's comment that he has a lot of work to do. I knew when I was on council, I knew what I had to do, what it would entail. But I will be offered, I could help you as a resident. I'm in town 24/7. I don't know, some of the little things I could do that'll reduce some of your labor. Good. You too, Mo. Department heads, when I was on council, did their own grant work. They're doing grants. That's shared services between department heads. They share other duties. Now, in the crunching times of the economy, somebody's got to give. I remember working. I asked my employer, I says, could you give me a raise? He says, Jay, come on, hustle it. But he called me in one day and he said, you want to help inside? I says, get more money for it? He says, no, but your job depends on it. I said, okay, I'll come in. I've been to many Pinewood Boy Scout things with my grandchildren. I don't see too much what they have to clean up. A volunteer can, or probably you need a guy with the black metal or whatever for the furnace. But because we've got some extra, we may be making, seeing some daylight with this 2% tax levy. I think we should go very, very cautiously in spending. Spend like we did last year, tight. Spend like Councilman Casillas did with the library, squeeze them. Everybody's got to get squeezed. Somebody got hug, somebody got a squeeze. Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to speak?
I'm gonna respond in a minute.
Anybody else wishing to speak?
I'm going to respond in a minute.
After he's done, right? I don't know who the chair of the committee is.
Okay.
These are my comments. Okay, first of all, with regard to the trash pickup, 3 men to 2 men, we have a contract with the trash company to pick up trash. I believe we contract for a specific number of vehicles, possibly we contract for timeframe they need to do it within, but I don't think we contract for a specific number of employees that they have doing it as long as they accomplish the task. So, any savings that they can realize, hopefully will be transferred next year when we go for bid with them again. But they're in business to do this, and do the best that they can with it.
I don't know what the contract calls for. I haven't seen the contract.
I'm sorry, I guess you can open it, I don't know what else to say. With regard to the police grant, it certainly is something that we've been talking about, trying to decide how we're going to move forward with that. I also would appreciate if you don't put words in my mouth. I didn't say that I have a lot of work to do, even though I do have a lot of work.
It's on tape.
What I did say is I'd like to have a focal point. A focal point which is something that every organization has. It's something that just about every municipality in this state has. While I appreciate your desire to help out, and I'm sure that I can call upon you, and you'll do great work for us. What I'm really looking for as a chief administrative officer, somebody who's qualified to do the things that need to happen administratively around the borough during the day when I happen to be at work. This has always been a part-time position. It's something that is really required for efficient management for the borough. Finally, I'm not sure that I understood your comment about the pay increase for council. I think you said no pay increase for council.
Correct.
I guess that was a statement of fact, and I think it's up to council to discuss it and figure out where they're going to go with that. What I will say is for somebody who is very interested in saving money for the borough, you seem to be fairly free going around offering employees of the borough money to take on additional tasks. And I don't think it's appropriate for you or any other representative in the community to come in and offer borough employees additional money, substantial amounts of money, to do their job, to do an additional job. Anybody else wishing to respond can do so?
Say that again. I said what?
Anyone else wishing to?
Don't cut me off, Mr. Mayor. Because that's dictatorial.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Seeing no one else, I'll make a motion to close the public portion.
Nobody else speaking? Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Are there any additional things we need to discuss in open session, Susan?
I just had a quick question. Mr. McGarrett brought up grant writing. Right now in the interim, before we figure out how we're doing the administrator position, are the department heads in charge of writing the grants, and then the liaisons are in charge of the department heads, or what's going on
I
there?
think that's what has to happen right now, yes.
Just want to make that clear.
What's the consideration with DPW potentially, or looking into going out for external services for grass cutting and, I'm sorry, municipal maintenance?
I put those bid out, the janitorial bids out today, and I'm working on the, yes, thank you. Landscaping should be done probably before Thursday.
Ken, I just have a question. You have Public Works here, I probably should have asked earlier, and you have the two, the foreman and the equipment operator. You have those as if, what is, I'm just a little confused. Is that like we're gonna hire them if we chose to
No,
hire these people?
that's what you were paying when they were here. Contracts, they've had zero increases since that time. So
Okay.
that's just what the dollar figure was, because it was asked about. I know when they were talking about police, they said we're still short DPW wise, and that's to show the cost DPW wise, but that's why we brought up the fact of looking at possibly outsourcing those couple of items to free up the other individuals, so you wouldn't have a shortage of manpower then, and have those tasks being covered for
So just to be,
substantially less. Until we get the bids, though, we don't know if
Right,
it would be
right.
substantially less, or, but you're looking at those numbers without health benefits, so.
so it's that 123 figure, or we can consider whatever comes in when.
Right, but just remember, anything you put there is a new cost to the budget. Because last year we went without it the
Right,
entire
so
year,
whether it's this, or whether it's the outside
Right.
service. those-
I think the outside service will wind up being a lot cheaper
I
based
think-
on
I
what we
think so
spoke
too,
to,
but-
who, Cranford,
Cranford
what they
and-
were
yeah.
saying, they were paying for landscaping, and we put in ours multiple, what's the word I'm looking for?
Locations?
No.
Multiple variations of the work.
Multiple variation options.
Okay.
So, well, whether it be just cutting the grass, weeding,
Right.
weeding, maintaining, you know, all that type of, you know,
Right.
to see where the figures come in, so.
Okay.
The 184, 237, 75 for the red light ticket, is that minusing out the amount it costs for us to pay monthly for?
Well, you'll see right above that, total cost for municipality in 2011, it's $9,500 a month. We started in May. May
Okay.
actually was prorated, so it was a little less than the 9,500, plus the certified mailings. That's what it cost us from when it ran from May to December.
So the total-
$83,344.
Okay. So
Because the
184
county paid $9,500 per month
Okay.
also,
I was
so.
getting confused with court costs. So the 184, 237, then from,
That was our
realized
profit.
profit,
Right.
if you wanna look at it like that.
Right.
Then if we minus out the manpower that it's not costing us, and we minus out the
Right, that's not
possible
factored
50K
in.
court worker that we need to keep up with it.
Right.
When you mentioned that the county, if the county canceled their part of it, are we aware of any other agreements where they've done that so far?
No,
I didn't think so.
but we were also the first one that they signed up with, and then they were trying to go back to the other towns. I don't see them canceling it, but, and we could also hold them and say, well, you're stuck in it for this year because you were supposed to notify us by October 1st. So I would definitely have our attorneys challenge that if they did try and pull out, but I just like to have it confirmed before I tell you on the record that yes, they're gonna do
Yeah,
it.
and I do know that they did approach Linden to try and renegotiate, because I'm friends with the prosecutor there, and he was telling me that they were approaching.
Yes, they've been trying, I don't know if they've worked it out yet or not, but I know they're trying to.
What do they wanna do in Linden, not pay or pay a different amount?
They initially didn't sign up to pay, and they wanted to pay because Linden makes about $1 million a year. on
Right.
this.
But Linden was also trying to fight because they thought they were gonna get more of the money, because 2 of their 3 lights are in the safe corridors, but that all goes to the state, so. State's the big winner there.
Yeah, my understanding.
But obviously, the ultimate goal of this, remember, is public safety. It's not to make money. I mean, I presented to you financially, so, you know,
Source 2 weeks ago about that.
it's not,
Red light cameras.
Right.
In different towns.
The only reason why I bring it up, I don't wanna
Crime
get
rates,
us stuck
it's
holding
their
a big
streets, everything's
cost.
dropping.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now,
So it's.
well, remember, if the county backs out of it, you know, yes, our cost goes to the full 19, but then our 46 goes to, what did I say, 26, 7350.
because
So,
again,
you know,
trying to use
it's-
that to pay for
Right.
police or whatever, then it's an ultimate
Trust me,
safety.
I will give you break-even number, you know what I mean? I mean, you're locked into the contract, but, you know, it's a matter of, you kind of like to look at these numbers, and once again, I'm gonna reiterate, it's for a public safety factor. That's the main reason this is done. This
It's
isn't
working.
done for financial,
It's
you know,
not like
financial
the
gains.
No, but if someone is breaking the law, they're
Right.
getting a ticket, so
Right.
we're not chasing after people with fines, they're earning their fines, so.
Right. So, you had a question?
No.
Okay, if nobody has anything else, we have closed session contract negotiations, personnel, and
Potential litigation.
potential
I have
litigation.
to.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on a minute.
Personnel, DPW personnel,
I got police personnel,
Wait a minute.
court and DPW personnel.
Okay, and Mo?
police personnel.
Okay.
Contract negotiations, potential litigation.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Litigation with who?
Sorry,
Possible potential litigation with who?
potential litigation. What was the potential litigation?
Solid waste could be DEP, could be private contractors.
Okay, whereas the mayor and the council of Borough of Roselle Park wish to discuss matters which are described in the New Jersey Public Meetings Act Sunshine Law, and whereas these matters to be discussed include contract negotiations, personnel matters with the DPW, the court, and the police department, and potential litigation dealing with solid waste disposal. Whereas the time and what the circumstance under which the items discussed in closed session can be disclosed to the public, be it resolved that the mayor and council of the borough of Roselle Park adjourn the open portion of the meeting and open a closed portion of the meeting to discuss the above items. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to go into close.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We now in closed. We're back in open session now. In closed session, we discuss contract negotiations, personnel matters involving DPW, the court, police department, and potential litigation involving solid waste. None of those items resulted in a conclusion, and therefore we have nothing further to report at this time. Any other issues need to come up for the budget meeting? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We are now adjourned. Remember, February 1st is our next budget meeting.
February first.
At 6 p.m.?
No, February